I'll edit and stuff because we got little clips. So
what? I don't understand what's going on then.
Hey guys, it is me, the West Man, and we are not at my one-stall garage today. We are down in Pittsburgh, PA, down at the house of my son, Justin. Say hey.
Hello.
We are going to put that other 2-inch leveling kit I've talked about in the past on his 2011 Silverado. And we're going to get that started in just a couple of minutes. But I wanted to have Justin let you guys take a quick look at his S10. You know that we are S10 fans. I have mine up at the house. Justin has his down here in his garage. So he's going to give us a quick show around and how we ended up with that thing and how it came to be. So with that being said, welcome to Justin's house and his 3-stall garage. Hey, Justin.
Hey. So this is my 88 two-wheel drive S10 Blazer, which is pretty awesome. You know, don't see a ton of those. And people who aren't big into that game don't really sometimes even know about that. I've talked to people who are like, oh, two-wheel drive? They had a two-wheel drive Blazer? And so yeah, this is one of them.
Now, if you guys take a quick look at that and you realize there's some pieces off the front missing, and then you think back to what my S10 looks like, you might now understand why the nose of my S10
is white. Yeah, because it's from mine. So I don't remember how it came to be, really. When I was a teenager, I decided and latched onto the idea that my hot rod, my project, was going to be a two-wheel drive V8 Blazer. That's what I wanted to do. This one popped up in our area at a little car lot, and it was a California vehicle, so it's super, super clean. We've never driven it in the winter. Before it came here, I'd never seen snow and salt. Yeah, she's pretty sweet. When we got it, it was a factory 2.8, little turd. But I was 16. I drove it like that for a little bit as my daily driver. Wow, 16. Almost 20 years this thing's been around. That's crazy. But we drove it like that for a little while. I did. We were on our way from the dinner that we went to back to school for the dance, and the 2.8 went out to lunch. She was done, had enough. So that was it for a while. The goal was always to V8 swap it, but at that point I wasn't prepared for it. I intended to drive it a little longer the way it was, but I wasn't, I was 16. I didn't have tons of money to dive into that project. So it sat for a little bit. Dad was kind of in between projects. That was after the Monza and after the Monte Carlo.
I've actually never talked about those two on the channel. Maybe someday I will.
You should. It was ironically pretty clean Monza just popped up on a marketplace in Pittsburgh here the other day. I saw it, but you were kind of in between projects, and I said, hey, go ahead, because you had V8 that would go right in here and be awesome. And so that's what happened. Dad kind of took over and did the initial V8 swap. It went from the 2.8 to a pretty rowdy 350. I personally couldn't tell you all those details on that motor, but I know that it was nasty. That was the first V8 that went in here, and it was in there for a little bit. It was pretty nasty. It was pretty wicked.
It was pretty wicked.
But that motor had a few little minor issues, and this perfectly good running 305 was around, and that ended up going in for a while, and it was in there for a long time. And it ran just fine in the little two-wheel drive Blazer.
Now this is actually the motor that is going in rat gasm. How many miles did we figure that might be on this? Probably less than 3,000 miles.
Yeah, not many.
This motor actually came out of another one of your vehicles that you never got to drive.
No, we had it before I was old enough to drive, and then I think you guys had decided you didn't want that sitting around that long until I could drive it, and that ended up going to be a derby car.
Yeah, it was also a rust-free car. Like you said, it was big. And it took up a great big part of the driveway.
It was a Caprice Classic wagon,
yeah.
big old land yacht.
And this motor actually didn't run. Somebody had washed the rings and stuff out of it. I had rebuilt that motor to have it. I mean, we had it, so I went through it and rebuilt it. And then when that 350 blew up, this just became the part-time replacement until we could mess around with that other one. But there it is. That's the one that's going in ratgasm. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're cool. It's
I'm cool. I mean,
I shouldn't have said that.
I'm a West man.
I shouldn't have said that.
That's, you guys, that's who I am.
That was a mistake. But it worked good. you know, to go out and cruise.
Hey guys, it is me, the West Man, and this is my son's 3-stall garage. So with no further ado, Justin is right in the background. He is going to be a bit of my helper slash tool bitch kind of a thing. Wow. and so we're going to get started on that. First thing we're going to do is disconnect that little line for the speed sensor just to get it out of the way. That takes a 10 millimeter, so I'm going to turn you in here. We moved the nose of it inside the garage before we got started because it is starting to thunder and rain outside. It's been pretty much the concept of our summer. Hey Justin, do you have a little hammer I can tap down over this bolt that's a little rusted? Yeah. And you said that you did not, wow, this is a little bit different than mine. Oh, you can right out the bottom with this, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I just put the struts on the front of this last summer after the last inspection. I just got this year's inspection pretty recently, but yeah, after last year's inspection, it needed new struts, so I just put those on last summer. So the struts are pretty fresh.
Now this is a 2011 and mine is a 2012, but on mine, I just dropped my socket. On mine, if you can see my hand under here, this is all closed in like an older styled.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I actually had to...
Well, that must be that much better quality GMC engineering.
Well, yeah. I got a guy that I know GMC and superior to the Chevy.
Tool bag.
So, anyway, this looks like it might be a lot easier. We ought to be able to unbolt that strut at the bottom. We'll undo the top first. Heck, this thing looks like it'd be super easy.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with changing the struts, and I said it was pretty simple.
So we ought to be able to just loosen them up at the top, disconnect those, and those will drop right out from the bottom. That should be way easier. What do you think? Way easier?
I think so.
He thinks so. Okay, well, let's try that. Let's move you up top side and take a look at those take a look at the top of those struts. Okay, we're going to start out by taking these 3 top bolts out of the strut. That is an 18 millimeter socket. We got a long extension. We should be able to just buzz those right out. Now these were out last year, right? So,
Yep.
That's all that holds the top of the strut on. Man, it is pretty damn warm out today. So while we're letting a little air pressure build up and we've sprayed the bottom of those struts with some penetrant, you always want to be penetrated, or, I mean, you want to penetrate, or, yeah. Okay.
Hey, did you buy leveling kit for my truck for a Silverado?
Yeah.
Or did you buy it for a Ford F-150?
Oh boy, well that's not right at all.
I'm a little offended. I hope that this works. If I was in charge of this company here, I think that, you know, I'd have had to take a serious look into the cost of what it would actually take to have a specific box for the leveling kit of each truck, you know what I mean? This picture for the Ford leveling kit. A picture of Silverado for the Silverado leveling kit.
Okay, let's put these things together.
Dealers wanted. Well, there you go. I had to start a shop out of my garage and deal moto fab stuff.
Of course, if you get downtown to Pittsburgh, there's all kinds of dealers down there. So that's really all there is to this leveling kit. Just 2 steel oversized hockey pucks and a little hardware kit.
Wow, and there's nothing to make in these.
No. Now, if one were so inclined and had a knowledge of machine work, Justin is a machinist by trade and works down here at a factory in Pittsburgh. We'll keep the name of that place to ourselves because we're not sponsored.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not sponsored by Moto Fab either, and that is the leveling kit that we're using. Now, I do believe that how this works, these are going to be going on to the top of the struts that go into the tower. These ones will be screwing in here, right, Justin?
I didn't do this once already.
Yeah. You want to put a little Loctite on these, and these are going to, those screw through, and these only go on one way. So those are going to screw in, 6 bolts, 6 nuts. We'll put those in. We're going to put a little Loctite on those. You got a little Loctite?
Boy,
Look at that right there, Loctite. Now we'll put a little Loctite in these. Will be what goes up through the shock tower to hold these on. And the studs, the factory studs that are on struts will come up through here. The bolts that are holding those on, the nuts that are holding those on, will go in through here, and we will have to cut the tips off of those so that they don't stick up beyond the disc and try to hit into that pocket like this one sticks up. This will go through the original holes, but these ones will just need to fit into the pocket. So once we put these in, we get that strut out, we will cut the tips of those original studs off so they sit down within that machined orifice. Can we call that an orifice?
That's a counter bore.
Counter bore. You heard it here first. Okay, so I'm going to pause you. We're going to screw those in, put a little Loctite on. Go ahead, Justin. Loctite on those and buzz those right in there. You probably have a thingy.
I sure do.
A Torx bit thingy.
Ooh, that's not shy.
That's what I said when I did mine. Just a little wee gin tonic. A little dab of Loctite when you screw those in. Now, if you were going to do this the proper way, you would have an Allen wrench kind of a deal, but we're just gonna...
I took all my Allen wrenches to work. Like he mentioned, I'm a machinist, and I had to take a bunch of stuff to work, and my Allen wrenches just happen to be one of those things that are now missing.
So crank that in.
We're gonna use this screwdriver, this big old flat tip, that just about perfectly happens to fit in there, so boom.
I don't think that anybody else could have screwed that in any tighter.
Probably not.
Actually, and I remember that there is no torque settings or anything on this kit. It's just crank them down tight, and that's what you got. And there's no way those are going to back out of there because these nuts are going to cinch those right up tight.
I'm pretty sure Dwayne Johnson himself couldn't have gotten that any tighter.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?
No. I don't smell much of anything.
COVID.
Nah, I've never been able to smell very good. His newest movie was pretty good. We went and saw at the drive-in pretty recently, that Jungle Cruise with him and Emily Blunt. It's pretty good. You know, family-friendly movie and all.
Yeah. And that's the way we are here on the West Man and his One Stall Garage show. Family-friendly.
Yeah, until you invited me on today and I was air humping stuff. Oops.
It actually says on Facebook when you're posting your video if it is meant for kids, and I always say no, that mine is not meant for kids because
yours aren't bad, but I suppose it's, cover yourself.
Choke yourself.
Not with your hands, stupid.
Okay, that is the first one installed. I mean, pre-assembled kind of a thing. And that's all there is to it. We put those screws in through that way, the bolts, and these act as our new mounts on top. And these nuts will hold this onto the top of the shock tower or strut tower. And the nuts that we take off of the strut will hold the strut into the spacer. And it is just that simple. Okay, so we, if you can see, are going to break these two bottom bolts loose on the strut. So Justin is going to clamp that top nut so we don't break it. Because how much did you say that cost?
It was like $17 or $27.
And that little cap nut is dealer only item.
I can't
he
see
said.
it very well. Can you tell me from?
Yeah, you're right on it. That is that one. That should be good now. And
Boom.
long-winded they are.
Yeah.
Hey, there's the first one out. Now, do you want to switch sides so we can do the same thing on the other side? So you can squeeze the nut on this side, or do you want me to squeeze and you can crank that from the bottom?
Okay.
Do we still have the right view?
I'm the tool bitch, so whatever.
Yeah, we got it right there. That is.
When I drilled gas, I was, you know, the low guy on a totem pole when I started out there. It was Worm. That's what they called that guy. Hey Worm, get me a.
I guess I'm squeezing that. Go ahead. Yeah, baby.
Oh, I hate it when it slips out like that and tries to pop back in the wrong. Never mind.
That's what she said. You know, it's amazing how, well, as technologically advanced as modern cars are, compared to, well, even your S10 Blazer over there, how big and heavy duty the upper and lower control arms are as opposed to these. I mean, you know, the aftermarket world came out with tubular control arms, you know, years ago now, and it's obvious that, you know, the major auto manufacturers have gone to a similar design.
Yeah.
A lot less weight, and they're kind of an I-beam configuration, so strong yet lightweight, and well, there you have it. Okay, so what do we need to do, Justin? Do we need to get a screwdriver or something under there and pop that off that ledge?
I believe so, yeah. I think that's what I did before. I think we need to go it from the top side though, because you'll kind of compress it. And
Okay.
boy, apparently I took my big screwdriver to work too.
How about a jack handle or something? Yeah. A little bit more. That came in. Okay, the only real modification you have to do when you're putting this leveling kit in is that once you put the spacer on here, the original studs stick up past the top of the spacer. So we're gonna put you on high speed, a little bit of time lapse while we cut that off, because you'll never hear us anyway, but you'll be able to see that. All we're doing is cutting the top off of that. You guys can see how those are clocked. These are the original ones, and these are now offset from the way they were. So when we put this back in, we will have to clock this strut 180 degrees. All right, guys, we had a bit of a rainstorm here, and my camera went dead. It got pretty dark. We wasn't able to see much, but we are still working on the driver's side. We've got it back in there. We're just tightening up that lower strut base bottom bolt, and we got the top in. I know that you can't see that at all, but we got the top in, and we're running out of daylight, so I'm hoping we can get the rest of this on camera. If not, we will just, you'll never just see this video, that's all. But we really have just this one bolt that's being stubborn, and then we can cinch up that top ball joint and put on that brake line, and we should be good to start getting the other side going. So I am going to put you guys on time lapse, and I know the light is just horrible. So we'll see what we can do about that. Okay, there is Justin.
17 hours later, and here we are on side 2.
Yeah, side 2. Actually, we ran into a couple of bears. We decided to go ahead and change the sway bar end links, and because they were looking pretty rough. But we got the driver's side together. It is on, and we have started on the passenger side, but we just really do not have much daylight in here, and I'm struggling to try to get a camera down there and an angle to work. But this is all ready to be knocked apart. He's just putting a lift block on it, and we got to take the sway bar end link off of this side, and this is ready to drop down and slide that new one in. That's what we're doing. We're doing it. We're getting her done. He's just snugging those up nice and tight.
Do you think I got the right extension for this job here?
You just keep your extension to yourself.
Well, it's long enough. I could not keep it to myself from over here.
Oh boy. There's movies about that kind of thing down in West Virginia.
Hey, we're really close to West Virginia. I have some friends over there. Yeah, that's a
little excessive. Okay, so he's got that snugged on and tightened up. He used his 24-inch biceps to tighten that sway bar end link on. I'm gonna have him unscrew that and take it off. So we're gonna put you on time lapse, and we're gonna show you how this goes together. Well, the rest of the way apart and then back together. It is so dark. We've got a trouble light and 2 lights on the ceiling. Though we're able to see with the trouble light to work, it's not picking up anything on the camera. See you in a few minutes. So what do you say there?
Screw them and let's go home.
Well, there it is, down on the ground. Wheels are on it, jacks are out. He's gonna back it out of the garage here in a minute so we can get that to settle and get a peek on it outside. We do have a motion detector light out there. We should be able to see. Again, I just can't tell you how much of a difference those 2-inch leveling kits make. On that box, it's a Moto Fab kit, and Justin had pointed out that there is a Ford F-150 on that box, and I'm sure that there's a difference of this or a difference of that, but I can't imagine that doing this on a Ford F-150 or a 1500 series Dodge pickup truck on a Ram would be any different, nor on a Colorado or a Ranger or a Toyota Tacoma, whatever it is. They're all going to be pretty much similar, those 2-inch leveling kits. And it wasn't very expensive. Like I said before, it was like 70 bucks. This one did take us longer than we figured it would. We struggled with a couple of bolts. We had to run to the auto parts store to get some Allen wrenches that Justin had taken his to work, and so we had to go get some. Then we went back for, the sway bar end links. So that took up a little bit more time, and then of course Justin and I don't get to hang out very much, so we did a bunch of BSing for half of the day.
There is some time lost there due to that.
Yeah, we Justin and I like to quote movie lines to each other and giggle and laugh like idiots. So as soon as he fires this up and moves it outside, we'll get another look at it. He's going to turn that thing around and back it in. We'll cycle the suspension by then. So obviously right now you guys are not going to see it, but Justin and I are standing here looking at it. I think he's going to go grab a flashlight. Okay, well, this is under a trouble light, and it's not the best of lights. There it is, it's done, it's outside, and definitely very visibly sitting up on the front end. That really sits up nice, looks good. So, and for now, I am the West Man. We are down at Justin's 3-stall garage, and we're saying peace out.
Bye.